From now on, a commissar must be a permanent ground force, defined by humility and willing to sacrifice everything in service of our struggle. There is no commissar who's going to be accused of sexual harassment. There's no commissar who's going to be accused of abusing women. There's no commissar who's going to be knocking on the doors of leaders of the student command in an attempt to impose themselves on young children. A commissar must be disciplined and show that discipline both in private and in public. What you do in darkness will one day come out. And when it comes out, you must be very proud to stand with what you did in darkness. So do not do things that are going to embarrass us and embarrass the movement. Delegates to the Third National People's Assembly of the EFF, I want to commend you from resisting the provocation of the media and many of those who wish to see us fail ahead of this assembly. There were newspapers that were dedicating Sunday pages to the destruction of the EFF. But you delegates refused to listen to those doomsayers, and you disappointed them. There have been numerous attempts to cast doubt and shadow over the credibility and authenticity of our assembly because the aim is to caricature us as an organization of chaos, and you have proved them all wrong. Those in the public domain have for more than a decade characterized the EFF as an organization of an individual, which relies on individuals. And over the past 3 days, you have proven once again that this movement belongs to the people. It is now them who subscribe to individuals and not you as members of the EFF, because you have proven that the EFF belongs to a collective and will never stop its work as a result of the actions of individuals. They have tried to undermine you and tried to paint the discipline you have shown as a result of choreography, because to them, the democratic process of black people must have violence and altercations. This mainstream media and social commentators disparately want the gathering of black people to be characterized by hatred, slander, and fighting. And because of the EFF has run a peaceful organizational processes without a single incident of violence, they are pained because they now have nothing negative to write home about. Baswabile baloi. Bebatlisitse boloi mo. Boloi ba bona le lwetse ba di tshwere ba di phuthetse di padile ba paletse go di phuthulla ba no kwa ba tshwarega ba tsena ka moholong e ka re moloi ka mo a ka se survive. Jalo ba tsantse re ba tsebe ba re tlhoileng gore ba file Black Christmas na ro ki phina ka Christmas ro nyakalala ra naba maoto ra se ba fetole le ba ngwala ka Christmas ka re tabere le busy re ya di beetroot bona di tabe di ba gama di pelo di a baba di pelo tše dintsho tša baloi. We have defeated them with their lies, who tried to sow disunity in the EFF and provoked factionalism in order to disrupt the Third National People's Assembly. On the opening of the assembly, we provided a political report which reflected on ideology and domestic and international politics. And instead of engaging meaningfully with this contribution to the intellectual discourse of South Africa, they resorted to gossip and peddling of rumors because they do not have the capacity to interact with ideas. I decided to present that report in a manner I did because I knew that most of these journalists of South Africa have got no basics of classics. They do not understand dialectical materialism. They have no understanding of Marx, Lenin, and Fanon. And to speak to them for a long time about such issues, it will be to demoralize them, because they do not hear a thing. That's why even after you speak about Fanon, Lenin, and Marx, they still ask you about gossip because they've got no capacity to engage on Marx, Lenin, and Fanon. They've got no capacity to engage in any ideological engagement. They are journalists of gossip. And when you give them political education, that's a boring statement. They want Mugozi. They thought they were coming here for Mugozi. You are not coming here for Mugozi. This is a political education school here. We made you attend political education. And we even gave you documents. You must read them during December. Do not read gossip newspapers. Read the political lecture we gave you throughout this input. Fighters, let's go back and make sure that we build our organization as you have agreed and presented the resolutions. The organizational character and redesign, it tells us that indeed we must do away with the regions. And doing away with the regions does not mean these regions are dissolved. They are still regions. You just took a resolution. They go back and continue to work as they are until this leadership has met and developed guidelines on how we are going to go about removing regions and introducing the sub-regional structures. So the regional leadership remains intact until we come to you. Going Yona is inevitable. So don't stay so comfortably. Start making yourself popular in your sub-regions. But for now, you are there until we come and give guidance as to what is going to happen. Comrades, I'm happy that the comrades of KZN are determined to go and fight and regain the lost ground in KwaZulu-Natal. And they were saying to me, some of them, that President, you see where Gauteng is sitting. That's where we're supposed to be sitting. In the next conference, we are sitting there because we'll be more in number, because we are going to grow our numbers in KwaZulu-Natal. And Gauteng says that will never happen. We are going to maintain our position and we are going to reclaim our lost grounds in the previous elections. So we are happy that you are so determined. Fighters, there is no longer a student command. There is a youth command. And I don't know why someone will even go into a commission and argue against the youth command, which exists because of the Constitution. When we say youth command, we are not proposing a new thing. It is in the Constitution of the EFF. We are not dissolving the student command. We are converting every branch of the student command into the youth command. Where there is a branch of a student command, it's not going to be changed. The chairperson remains the chairperson. The secretary remains the secretary. We are just changing the name. They are no longer student command. They are a youth command, which exists everywhere. Like the youth league, the ANC youth league. If you don't know, there is no ANC student organization. It's ANC Youth League. SASCO is an independent organization. COSAS is an independent organization that took a resolution to align with the ANC. It doesn't derive its existence from the constitution of the ANC. So we led the Youth League outside campus, inside campus. And what we are saying to you is that do not create so many structures that you are going to fail to manage. Hey, youth command, women command, student command, union, are forming Sankoyarina, so that you are actually planning for yourself. Or when I fail here, I go this side. When I fail this side, I go this side. We have the EFF is enough. Someone says, okay, if I'm 30 years, I'm above 30, and I'm at the university, I'm a student, it means I'm going to be excluded from the student command. Yes, but you won't be excluded from the EFF. agree will have joined the EFF in a branch where you come from. When there is election at university, you vote for EFF. When there is a campaign of the EFF, you join to support the campaign of the EFF Youth Command because it's EFF Youth Command. So there is no need to want to justify your participation in the politics of youth because you are a student. President ya SRC mara afita VC ya skolo sagaga benwa. Student Command are a launcher. When we launched Student Command, the first president of the Student Command was older than the former deputy president of the EFF. And just that alone tells you there is a problem here. So we are going to have the Youth Command that takes between 14 to 30, not 35. Karel tomo feta 30, Swanjel tomo baba toba wolo, Lidie malapa. To alaba tomo barba lidiaba youthimo baba inaleba na baba wolo. So we want you to go and build structures of the Youth Command. Again, on the Youth Command, there will be a direction that is going to be given immediately after the first CCT meetings where guidelines will be developed about how we go about it. Comrades, we have not included the issue of age in our constitution. We have not amended and said, no, not age, metric. We have not amended and said you can only lead the EFF if you have metric or post-metric qualification. We did so deliberately. But this is going to apply on the deployment. So when we issue the guidelines on deployment, metric or equivalent is going to be a requirement. So it's not a constitutional matter. It's a matter that we will deal with as we navigate the issue of deployment. You are going to be angry with us now when we deny to deploy you in a particular department. But because we denied you on the basis of qualifications, you go and acquire qualifications. And when you come back while qualified. You come back with qualifications, and those qualifications were attained because the EFF said you cannot occupy this without qualifications. So you are going to thank us not now, in the future, even when you are no longer in the EFF, even when you are no longer in the position of the EFF. You will be employed, you can run your own business, you can be introduced in gatherings. Lena o ka ra le tsamaye mabaka wa tswa o ta ro tsamaya gathering ba re ba tsebisha batho ba re o ke mamang o na le PhD le masters leng o kre o rapela gore wena ba ska ba ba o batamela or no, they must never come close to me. So we have not made it a constitutional matter, but we are going to make sure that this issue is taken very serious. Comrades, we are going to fight for state capacity. We are going to fight to industrialize our economy. We are going to fight for infrastructural development in South Africa, and we are going to fight for the protection of state-owned enterprises. We are going to defend ESCOM, and we are going to fight everybody who wants to privatize our state asset. So we must never allow anyone to privatize the things that belong to us. We are going to fight for the land reform. We are going to fight for the expropriation of land without compensation. We must be found fighting in sports, arts, and culture. It must never be a domain of other people. We must be found there fighting for our artists, for our sportsmen and women. We must fight for Banyana to be paid the same amount as Bafana Bafana, because they all do the same thing. Comrades, Cyril Ramaphosa has to sign a Bella bill. If Cyril Ramaphosa does not sign a Bella Act, we are going to the streets. We must mobilize everybody in society to demand that the Bella Act must be signed. We are not going to be threatened by AfriForum. We are not going to be threatened by anyone who was wearing orange and saying we must not implement the Bella Act. The Bella Act is going to be implemented. No one is going to be excluded in a school owned by government on the basis of language. Comrades, the school we have spoken about, and I don't know why the TG did not do this, because I had asked her nicely that after she presents the report, she must play bioscope for you here. 3D. They were supposed to show you the 3D plans of that school, because we are at a stage where we even have 3Ds. We know where the swimming pool is going to be, because there's going to be a swimming pool. If anything that is found in white people's schools is going to be found in that school, because we must make it in such a way that everybody feels like their children must go to those schools, or they must build those kind of schools in our townships and villages. So the school will be built, and there was a very progressive proposal by one of the fighters who said, when we start the construction of the school, we must say, one fighter, one brick. We must all contribute a brick and call on society to contribute a brick, so that this school becomes the people's school. We have already told the Chinese embassy that we are going to knock on their doors asking for money to build for a school, not for EFF political program, a school that is going to be for poor children. So we are at an advanced stage. Comrades, we are not fighting with the media. We just want a transparent media, honest media, that reports objectively. It doesn't matter whether you've got your own preferences in the EFF or not, but report honestly, because that will help to build the credibility of your newspaper or television. I'm happy ENCA has finally come back to its senses and stopped its madness, because ENCA walked out of this NPA in 2019. And we said to them, you will never cover the EFF events until you apologize. And we stopped them from covering EFF for 5 years until they were willing to talk. And we came, we spoke. The leadership of the ENCA said they do not associate with the decision of those people, because they don't understand why they took such a decision. It was irrational, it was reckless. They don't associate with that decision. And they told us, we didn't know, because we're no longer watching ENCA. And then we had a program in the EFF where we were teaching. We issued a video and said to the members of the EFF, this is how you block ENCA on DSTV. We blocked it. So from here, we are going to unblock you. We are going to unblock you. And then the ENCA, I told them one thing, that when Hitler was speaking and speaking bad things and declaring death on the Jews, no media has ever walked out of him. Even when he was speaking, killing people. What justification do you have that you walked out of a political gathering where the life of people was not threatened? They never walked out of Malan. They never walked out of Fairfoot. They never walked out of out of water. Even when these people were announcing the killing of children in Soweto and everywhere else, the media never walked out. So, what is worse about what the EFF did that day to make you walk out? It's an irrational decision which exposed you as a media that you are subjective. Sometimes you act irrationally without a reason behind whatever you are doing. So, welcome back. Fighters, when you see them, don't chase them away. You must be nice to them. You must be friendly to them. SABC, shame. It's our property. It just has got some one or two journalists who don't know politics, but they report about politics. And if you are to put, I want to talk to the political editor of SABC. Because I see this thing of calling analysts. They come there and then they talk alone and talk a lot of nonsense. So if you are analyst, it will analyzer EFF. You must call us to be there. That analyst must sit here, speak that nonsense in our presence, and we'll expose them because many of them are just clowns. Yeah, analyst, the same analyst in his entire life, he has never organized a birthday party. He has never organized his own wedding celebration. But he wants to come and analyze how a gathering is organized. From which experience when? When I sang our dear party, so please, we are not riding on a high horse. Call us, call an analyst, put here. Even some Carlos says he's an analyst, he was analyzing some nonsensical things there. Listen to this one. What's my only one? Blind. Call us, talk when we're here. Repeat unto you. Or they can sing when they sing in a shower. So 405 it used to be a very nice channel, well balanced. And there is a guy there of 405 who, when he came, I want to talk about this name. Yeah? Galata. Yeah? Yeah, Galata. Galata came to 405 and behaved like his objective. And made that station to be a people station. We loved it. We were putting that channel. But that channel, and I'm saying this honestly, is going to collapse. It's going to be another failed project if you are continuing with that journey you are continuing with. You are going to join that thing of the Guptas. You are going back there where the Guptas had a TV channel. It became a flop. You are becoming a flop. And it's Galat. So if the owners of that thing love that channel, they must act on Galat. Maybe you must go back to Eastern Cape to go and edit that daily dispatch there. Maybe it's a village mentality that works in degenerating a national station. The guy was coming all right. Problem he ate monies from other people. Even when you correct something factually, they still don't correct it on their TV. But you know, with SABC, you make a call, you demonstrate to them, but this is inaccurate. In less than no time, it will be corrected, because journalists must be concerned with the facts. When you prove the facts, they must immediately correct those things. But we are working with all of them. We are going to work with the ENCA. We are going to work with SABC. We have no choice. Because by not working with SABC, you are not working with yourself. It's not a state broadcaster. It's a public broadcaster, which means it's owned by us, the public. That's our relationship with SABC. And that's why we must have huge interest in the SABC. It must be a contested terrain. We must not allow it to behave like it's an ANC channel. It's not an ANC channel. We're going to work with all newspapers, radio stations. We're going to work with all the podcasters. But we can't go to podcasts of other political parties. Like that one of the son of Dalimbuf. We can't go there. That thing is for MK, it's not for us. So let him continue to interview MK people. I mean, it's like EFF podcast going to interview Fikile Mbalula. He will never allow that. So don't ask us witchcraft, that we must do things that are unacceptable. Every podcast, Shem, Lejabu DJs boo the hassle. No, yeah. Auna more saying, because Rena, we are not hiding anything from anyone. We go everywhere. My regards to my office, other political parties. So it's as simple as that. The argument that it was formed before MK, how can it become MK? Those who are MK, they were born before MK. They are older than MK, so how did they become MK? If being born before doesn't make you MK, that logic doesn't make sense. They must interview their fathers. Comrades, we are going to intensify our internal communication, strengthen our communication. We are going to make sure that we professionalize our podcast and make sure that our podcast is driven by national consciousness, not some ruralitarian perspective, not some backwardness. It must have a producer. That producer must be someone with a background in the media, tried and tested. And I'm told there is one who was fired in 405. I must look for that producer that was fired in 405 and hire him. So we must professionalize our podcast. Comrades, our podcast is not political education podcast, it's podcast. So you can't want to see people talking about Marx, Lenin, and Fanon every day on that podcast. Otherwise, you'll watch it alone. It has to be attractive to even non-political people, because some voters of the EFF may not be interested in its literature. So you need to bring all different kinds of people. Be a celebrity, be an artist, be an actor, be a musician, well-known businessman, emerging young entrepreneur. Those are the people who must be bringing into our podcast. Someone says, when those traditional healers were performing their customs here, he says, wow, as a Christian, how are you going to feel in the EFF? But being stupid is not a difficult thing, eh? Because there was a Christian that prayed. There was a Muslim that prayed. When it is Africans, they now start wanting to question, what about? But it just happened on the same platform. Because we belong to different religions. We are not a Christian religious organization or Muslim or African. No, we are a political organization that is constituted by different people who belong to different religions. So please, let's make sure that we broaden that education through our own media platforms. We need EFF to be innovative. We need EFF to be the new thing. It must not operate like the old organization and even do things that failed to build the ANC, and you say the ANC was doing this, therefore we're also doing it. But you can see that it's not working. So let the new ideas come from the EFF. So fighters, let's go and build our structures. Let's go and defend our structures. We cannot allow our organization to be divided. There are comrades who are working day and night to divide the EFF, not because they hate the EFF, but because this comrade can never succeed outside factional politics. Where there is no fight, they just start a fight. They both support Julius Malema, but they've got two groups, two WhatsApp groups. WhatsApp group for this one, WhatsApp group for this one. All of them are saying we support Malema. So what are you disagreeing on? So our leaders will have to grow very fast. Because factionalism is what destroyed the ANC, and it will destroy the EFF. Our leaders must learn to consult each other. There is no leader here who possesses all of the wisdom. If you are a secretary of a province, you'll find yourself talking to other secretaries of provinces, giving them names from your province, and you have not consulted with your chairperson about that. You must know you are a problem. You have to respect each other. And respecting each other means you have to respect each other's views. You don't have to agree with the name, but give them an opportunity to express themselves. So I hope we are going to learn from here and go and build a strong organization, not build out of factionalism and then friends, favoritism, factionalism. All of those, we are bearing them here today. When we go back home, we are all one united EFF, and all leaders of the EFF are here in front. There is no leader of the EFF who's not here in front. There is no leader of the EFF who's not here in Nazareth. If they are not here, they are not leaders of the EFF. You must never regard them as the leaders of the EFF. You chose the leadership. You must defend your leadership. You must respect your leadership, both in private and in public. Fighters, there will be lots of things that are going to try and test us. But we have a founding manifesto. We exist on the basis of principle. Let's go and stick to our documents and stick to the discipline of our movement. Our leaders are here. You all know them. You nominated them here for 3 hours. You can't live here and want to be telling us about non-existing leaders. Anyone who's not elected by a province or elected by this conference is not a leader of the EFF. So EFF met here at the 3rd National People's Assembly and elected leaders. EFF met here at the 3rd National People's Assembly, adopted resolutions that are going to be implemented by leaders. Anything else that gets written by anyone on Facebook, Twitter, newspaper, whatever, is not EFF resolution. Our resolutions are not communicated through social media. We are going to clean them up and send them to you directly as members of the organization. Do not listen to doomsayers. Do not listen to those who want to destroy the EFF. The EFF is here to stay. The EFF will not die today. The EFF will not die tomorrow. This organization is going to be here for generations to come. They declared this Nazareth a death place of the EFF. They thought the EFF was going to be officially buried here. Now, the EFF is not buried. The EFF is re-energized. We are re-energized. And determination. Don't stop the EFF because it's unstoppable. So let's go out there and tell our people that you did not disappoint them. Your discipline is celebrated by everyone in South Africa, including those who hate us. They can't stop talking about how well organized we are, how disciplined we are. One of the journalists was saying, but this stage, comrades, is a United Nations stage. The way you have set it up is like we are in a UN assembly. No any other party can do this except the EFF. So you always prove to all of them that you are ahead of yourself, of themselves, because, comrades, you cannot elect people who can organize themselves. ANC tried to form a podcast. Yeah, in 2 weeks, do it. Good, disorganized. But you keep on voting for such people and then expect organized government when the people who are leading you are disorganized. Media, when you go to press conferences in the ANC, when it was turn to ask questions, we can't hear you. Because they've got no facilities, latest facilities. That's how much disorganized they are. So we must be the most organized organization. And through our organization, we'll now give our people hope and faith. You just have to work hard and hard. This thing of the votes will come. People vote for those who work very hard, not those who just come. Councillors, we want to warn you now that we are not going to go to every meeting and we are told about lazy councillors. Every councillor must have a baggy. Every member of the provincial legislature must have a baggy. Every member of parliament must have a baggy, including me. I've got a baggy, and I drive it myself. So, why baggies? You must never say there is an area that is not accessible. Because there are areas that are not accessible. The roads are in bad condition. But the EFF must be in a position to go to the dejected masses of our people. To go into the areas where our people are forgotten. It is you, the EFF, that will give the hope to our people. We are going to 2026 elections. The campaign starts now. You don't go and stay at home and start a campaign in 2026. You must start the campaign now by working hard in your own communities now. We are there, comrades. We are going to support you. This GNU will not last. Because Ramaphosa, if he doesn't sign Bella Bill, those people of the ANC are going to remove him. And if he's not removed now, anyway, he's going to 2027. There will be a new president of the ANC who will be elected on the ticket of anti-GNU. You saw one of them was even singing Asifuni GNU, the deputy president. The person who's going to be elected is a person who's going to fight GNU. That's why I say to you, it will not last. Everywhere else is being rejected, but people keep on imposing it on members of the ANC. So, comrades, we are waiting. We are going to enter this thing of government. We are just waiting, you will see. Abalwa le Helen Zille, siyangena. When they start fighting with Helen Zille, siyangena. That's why you came organized in this way, so that you tell them through this organization that there is an alternative, a progressive left alternative to Helen Zille, and that alternative is the EFF. We are not going into government to save the ANC. We are going into government to work for our people. And through working for our people will vote us into power, because they want to see what kind of government will the EFF bring. Skabatsa mamo wakwa re di minister aware hey resolution e we jero ka re a botsa Helen Zille is leaving. Once Helen Zille is out, siyangena, we are ready. Our people gave all the progressive black parties majority to govern in South Africa. The ANC decided to go with right-wingers, racist, white supremacists. It will come back to its senses. When it comes back to its senses, Skona. If they are going to call those criminals of Mkondo and work with them, it's their own problem. Tinasi Angena will do our own thing. We want nothing to do with Mkondo. It's their own. If they want them, it's them. We can't choose friends for them. If they, or anyway, they were friends together, criminals. We are not going into a coalition with the ANC on condition there is MK. We're not interested in MK. It's not a condition. We are ready to govern. We are ready to give the people of South Africa a desired government that will look after black people, build them houses, give them schools, build 24-hour clinics, ensure that we stop rape and GBV in South Africa. Only the EFF can return the minds to the people of Skukuni and Northern Cape and make sure that the people of Northwest benefit from the minerals. Only the EFF will not be in a corrupt relationship with the mine bosses, because EFF is not captured. So you don't want a party that is not captured, because you know that your bosses cannot control the EFF. Let them make a mistake and put us in that government. There is no white person who can undermine the department led by the EFF. That department will be a liberated zone, like we are doing in Ekurhuleni, like we are doing in Johannesburg, eThekwini, Nelson Mandela. All the departments that are led by EFF are liberated zones. That's where our people get services in practical terms, not just talking, lip service. So let's go prepare to take government in 2026. If it comes before that time, it's okay, but we'll consolidate it in 2026. No makanjane, you must all go and win your municipality. You must all go become mayors in your municipalities. You must all go and become councillors in your municipality. Go give people clean water. Go give people houses. Go give people roads. Go give people services. Let the poor not pay for water and electricity. Let's go take power on 2026 local government election. Let's go and increase the votes of the EFF. Let's go and show them that the EFF will not decline. The EFF will go higher and higher. The EFF is unstoppable because victory is certain. Amanda! Amanda! Viva! EFF, viva! Tata, EFF, tata! Tata, EFF, tata! Haikule, EFF Northwest, haikule! Haikule, EFF Mpumalanga, haikule! Haikule EFF Limpopo, haikule. Haikule EFF Northern Cape, haikule. Haikule EFF Eastern Cape, haikule. Haikule EFF Free State, haikule. Haikule EFF Western Cape, haikule. Tata KwaZulu Natal, tata. Tata KwaZulu Natal, tata. Forward to victory in KZN, forward. Forward to victory in KZN, forward. Amandla. Aunoma kuvi. Siyaya. Siyaya. Noma kuvi. Siyaya. Siyaya. Noma kuvi. Siyaya. Siyaya. Noma besethubola. Besishaya. Besibopha. Noma besethubola. Besishaya. Besibopha. Kubi kubi yo. Siyaya. Siyaya. Kubi kubi yo. Siyaya. Siyaya. Noma besethubola. Besishaya. Besibopha. Noma besethubola. Besishaya. Besibopha. Who left? Who right? Yamasa. Who left? Kita. Kill me. Kiribatabata. Samarumo. Samarumo rumo. Asicha. Where were you when I'm sitting? Where were you when I'm drunk? So fast kitchen. Emoye. So fast kitchen. Etati. Kichi kichi. Kichima. Kichi kichi. Kichima. Shoot to kill. Yamasa. Shoot to kill. Kill a man. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Brr pa. Pa. Brr pa. Pa. Patient.